Greetings, Light Tribe, Janine Palmer here, Spirit Silver Moon for Divine Heretic Poetic Tales, Divine Heretic Books, Harmony Energy Healing. This is volume 17 of the first series. And I've chosen a few poems. The last few volumes have a lot to do with what's going on in the world lately. So there's a lot of that in there. And so some of those might be the ones that I've chosen here, but yeah, so I'll just share a few of these with you. This one's called Armor, Dragons, and Rust. There was something mysterious about him, and something familiar as well. He was a teacher and a guide, and he took her through his hell. He helped strip away her armor. In an unintentional way, he let loose his hidden dragons, which she then had to slay. He knew about compassion, but he'd lost that thing called trust. He believed things about others that weren't true, and so close relationships turned to rust. He existed in a type of judgment, which was like a riptide of low vibe. He shared his gifts with many people, but there were aspects he would hide. He was healing from life's experiences, the lessons which come and go. He was integrating things as the best he could, whether high or low. He was loved by many. He is intuitive to a high degree. But it seemed there was something lacking, some aspect not yet free. She would never be the same from the experiences she went through. She traded in her armor for light and fixed her broken parts with spiritual glue. She rose above a valley of doubt. She became her truest friend. And he, like so many others, helped her along her path, where truth reveals itself again. A loud whisper. Something began to speak to my soul in a very insistent way. There were things I had to let go of, and monsters and patterns I needed to slay. I had to let go of what was familiar. I had to open to something more. I had to embrace the beauty of my own heart. I had to open that door. There was a desire for a close connection with another part of my flame, not the typical stagnant dysfunction of relationships that perpetrates remaining lame. There is a fire that doesn't consume. It's a sacred fire that nurtures and feeds, a fire that heals energy fields, a fire that soothes what bleeds. There is a deep compassion which works effortlessly to repair the punctures and the holes affecting energetic layers. He is a presence that's with me, of strength and great protection. He is a love beyond this dimension. He is love, which is truth beyond projection. He is the inspiration which sometimes erupts in me. He is the sacred truth which always sets me free. He is the reminder that God is always within. He is the other half of the whole, which exists beyond false ideologies of sin. He is the loudest whisper that is always heard and felt in my heart. He is the energy I've come to realize is never really apart. Outlaws of ignorance. Everywhere there are outlaws, those of lower consciousness, action, and vibe, suckling on hellfire's negativity, estranged from their light tribe. No care for the rights of others, grasping for external power, caring not how they achieve it or what souls they selfishly deflower. Robbers of certain innocence, ruled by twisted physical desire, misdirected by mental ideologies, false pimps of deviance for hire. Because darkness entered their energy field through unattended holes and tears, perhaps too many missing soul fragments and what crept into their lair, trying to fill the holes with corrupted things from stolen erections, what must dangle, karma like a parasitic disease in which they're unknowingly entangled. Not enough love for their own soul, so they steal from another. And when they have to experience what they perpetrated, they will gag from what they smothered. Orientation might be a label or perhaps a lame excuse to violate the rights of others by those ignorant and obtuse. Some things are perverted beyond description with no responsibility taken, but the love of the soul temporarily wounded shall never be forsaken. For the innocents who were violated and too afraid to speak out because choices have consequences and orientations don't overrule human rights. Okay, From the castles and cottages of the heart, the most curious glow. She walked a pathway through a Celtic heritage, and her energy drew you in. She was an enigma and an inspiration, the smoke from a fire shaman floating on the wind. From castles and cottages of sacred places, of the sacred heart, the soul, and more, a candle always burns from divine love, shining through the keyhole of her heart's ancient door. She moves through the mists of memory. Her angels are her illuminating guides. She converses with ascended angels, and she heals and raises her vibe. She meditates with the vining flowers. She communicates with the trees. She works through the purity of fire. She listens to the voice of the breeze. She has a sacred connection with the lake, and her pen is sometimes her sword. She's a spinner and weaver of many things, but her favorite crafts are with her words. She lives in the tower of a cottage, which looks like a castle, you know, and her friends, when they inspire her, help create the most curious glow. Okay. Whimsy. Her middle name is Whimsy. She came from days of old. She walks the path of sacred stories waiting to be told. She celebrates all artistry and craftsmen throughout the ages. She befriends the trees and angels and walks her path with sages. She speaks in riddles of the mystery to the degree she can remember. She celebrates the autumn all the way through December. She is a walking memory flickering through amnesia's veil, in and out of the delirious dream as assignment shall prevail. She works towards delicate balance where magnetism guides. She writes poetry for love's sake, heavenly inspiration through sunlight or the shadow of moonlit tide. She thrives on artistic expression where the whimsical loves to speak, vignettes which tell stories of what came before. On the paths we walk, where truth we seek, upliftment for the future path, and the energy we bring in through the necessary path of healing as we move beyond the din. This one's called By Moonlight. He was a wizard who traveled by moonlight. His magic was the depth of his love. His heart belonged to one lady, with the wings of a raven and a dove. She lived near a lake of ancient mists. She was often present in his lives, the most sacred of soul connections beyond notions of husbands and wives. She belonged to no one, except for maybe the gods, but she was fonder of him than anyone, their connection, an unbreakable bond. They shared glimpses of fiery, untouchable love, through actions beyond any words. But when they spoke in love stories, the type of poetry which loves to be heard. He fought for her honor when needed. She protected him with a goddess's love. They demonstrated something from other worlds, as below and so above. They were storytellers and mystics. They came to teach and to heal. They came to restore the sacred wisdom which the fools of the world try to hide or to steal. They were each powerful on their own, but united they were a mighty force. They transmuted into alchemical tapestries the foul effects of ignorance and remorse. They functioned from a place of honor. They functioned through the energy of grace. They anchored light on dark stars, assisting the rebirth of the human race. They went through their initiations. They made peace with tragic pain. They often shifted into the phoenix, rewriting the rules of shadowy games. They became an inspiration for those who could see and hear something deeper and more beautiful beyond the realm of fear. And we'll do one more. Battered and broken. Experiences of redirection, like a one-way ticket through hell. The distorted mirrors we see ourselves in, obscured by our battered and broken shells. The missions we seem to find ourselves on, callings we bravely embrace. The power that begins to brightly emanate through our inner smiles of grace. The flame burning steadily within us, the power of that still sacred force, that innate inner knowing and intuition, always guides us along our course. The emotions we carry, which feel such pain, the empaths spinning suffering into light, the alchemists on constant duty, the lanterns always burning deep in the night, the fragments of soul distantly watching as the initiate climbs higher and higher, and the transformation which surely occurs with the wisdom through experience we all acquire. The love we experience, whatever it seems, however it flickers in and out, hither and yon, however it directs us to the love within on this treacherous gauntlet spiral path we're all on. Our armor and shells must be broken, must be shed in order to rise, must be released through the power of our free will when we recognize the folly of false disguise. The silver bullets we've taken will surely turn to gold as we master the ability to love and forgive, which becomes the treasure we hold. And so that is it for this book for today, volume 17. Just wanted to share a few pieces. There's a few in here about Joan of Arc. And thanks for listening.